I did have a job lined up, working for a company up in London, but they had to cancel it purely based on financial insecurity. But it sort of left me in this situation of, okay, well, what do I do now? So I've been applying for anything remotely related to media and hoping for the best, and I'm still applying now. But it started making me consider about my wider options. So I'm now considering taking a master's if I wanted to. I'm very aware that, especially in the industry that I'm going into, it may take a little bit longer to go back onto film sets because of social distancing and PPE. So I might as well try and make this time to my advantage. So even if I take a year off and do a master's. In terms of my university, they don't really know what to suggest. I know it's not just me, because we had a lot of graduates going on to work for UEFA, or they're starting their own company. And there's so much is uncertain at the moment that whilst the university is now basically becoming our emotional support, there's not much they can really give in practical advice. So I'm very grateful for them, but we're all in the same boat and we've got to make the best of it.
I've heard about other people as well, their opportunities being cancelled, whether placement or graduate jobs or things like this. But personally, I haven't had anything lined up yet, but I can see a difference in the recruitment. So I want to do a job that is quite competitive. There is a lot of people who want to do it. It's a very technical but also business job. So I was expecting to take a while for applications and processes and a big rejection. But right now, there's nothing. There are jobs, you apply, but you don't even get an email back, and you don't even know if you've been rejected or they just left the ads on the websites and no one is just replying to them. It's been a bit confusing. You don't really know what to do. And when you applied before, you got a lot of interviews. They were like, okay, can you do an online test? There was a lot of communication, you and a company. But right now it's just I send an email, I send an job application, and there is just nothing back. In regards to university, I think they've done quite a lot. I've sent my CV to be reviewed. They reviewed my CV, they sent it back with actual useful feedback. And we have the university page for job adverts. There's usually not a lot in there, but they put a little information on top saying that they do call them up and ask if it's still available. So I'm not really wasting my time making this application, writing my cover letter, and putting my heart into it, and no one is ever going to actually see it, and I'm never going to hear back from them. So I think university actually has done a lot, and I'm also quite happy that my university offers help with career 3 years after. So I'm not really worried that if at this moment before I graduate I won't get a job.
I managed to get a COVID-related job, but that was quickly shut down due to a complaint about social distancing. That was interesting. That makes me think that maybe in the future, when we do start working in normal places again, that places are going to be quite vulnerable to outside complaints. And in terms of my institution preparing me for this, well, we haven't got a work portfolio that we would have done if we had finished, but we do have tutorials coming up, they're calling them exit tutorials, and we are allowed to talk with our tutors about what we want to do, where we see ourselves going, and they apparently are going to be continued up until the next year start, so in September.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with what Sam was saying about lecturers and the university in general not really having much of a solution, but I'm not sure I can blame them for that. It's their complicated times as it is, and the universities certainly don't have any more of the answers than we do. It's tricky to say how quickly jobs will start to come back. I think that depends on how social distancing goes and which companies are able to adapt to social distancing, and that it's tricky to say at what time those jobs will come back. In terms of graduate employment, I think one of the things that started to come up is that people who lost their jobs as companies closed down over COVID are now back on the job market and are more qualified than graduates. And so as graduate employment is tricky as it is, but you're now competing with a much larger unemployed workforce, which makes it is tricky to compete with people who have got 10 plus years experience in a field that you're trying to get into.